Welcome to Pleasure-Based Sex Ed, How to Have Sex for Your Pleasure with me, Irene Fair, sex and intimacy coach. Now, this isn't the kind of sex ed that we learned in high school that was meant to turn us off of sex. And this isn't about necessarily the reproductive system or STIs, although that information is really important. This isn't the kind of performance sex ed that we get from Cosmo, learning all these techniques to please our partners. No, this is about you and your pleasure. How to have sex in a way that nourishes you, that fills your body, heart, and soul, and that leaves you wanting more. Now, if you're like me, you probably didn't grow up with this information, and you probably didn't know much about the female libido and what we need to do to stoke its fire. The thing is that the female libido is different than a man's, and we need to stoke it with a lot of self-love, self-care, and pleasure, a lot of pleasure. This is sex that is coming from and done from desire, your desire, rather than guilt or shame or to keep a relationship going. This is life-enriching sex that nourishes you, that pleases you, and that leaves you wanting more. This is sex for your pleasure. Now, if you're like most women, this area hasn't come easy to you. And it certainly didn't come easy to me for most of my life. If you're like most women, you might have found yourself struggling with how to get turned on or aroused for sex. You might find yourself feeling too exhausted to feel your sexual energy, much less engage in sex. You might find yourself struggling with pain during intercourse or some discomfort. Or you find yourself having fast food sex and really craving slow, nourishing, gourmet sex that leaves you nourished and all your senses touched. And if you're like me, when you don't have this, you probably question yourself, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my libido? And if you identify with any of this, I'm here to tell you that there's nothing wrong with you and there's nothing wrong with your libido. There's something so incredibly wrong with how we do sex ed in our society, or rather, all the information that we leave out about women's pleasure, like our pleasure anatomy and all the different places in our bodies that can feel immense pleasure. We don't talk about the female orgasm and how we can tap into our orgasmic capacity as women. And we rarely talk about the importance of pleasure as an essential nutrient for our well-being and our libido. And the reason we don't talk about these things is that women's pleasure is still considered taboo. It's rarely seen on TV or in the movies. Doctors are guidance to avoid these conversations with their patients. But there's a reason. Women's pleasure is taboo because it is sacred. Because it is the thing that turns us on. It's the thing that fuels us. It's the thing that leaves us feeling unstoppable. And when we feel unstoppable, we're capable of doing great things. Which is why I like to say that well-fucked women will change the world. This is what this program is about. Learning about our bodies, what we're capable of, and how to stoke our sexual fire. And not just how to do it in relationship, but how to be sexual for our pleasure. How to enjoy our bodies, and how to access this immense energy within us. I welcome you to join me in this program and join other women who are hungry for this information and who want raw, vulnerable, real conversations about our pleasure and what it takes to get there. I think of this as a womb where we incubate as we grow and get stronger and support each other in our quest to have more pleasure in our lives, to live out our lives to the full capacity of what we're capable of. And so much of this is being held and supported by other women in this small, intimate setting. I invite you to join this group. I'm excited to support you. I'm excited to share this information and to shine the light on what is possible, and so much is possible for our bodies. Again, my name is Irene Fair, and this is Pleasure-Based Sex Ed, how to have sex for your pleasure as a woman. Join me in this program and give yourself permission to seek out information and tools to access the pleasure that you deeply desire for yourself.